last night, apparently, and I just saw the periphery of this, so I'm just kind of on the blast radius of all this stuff that's going on, right? So yesterday I watched part of June the King's documentary. I'm going to watch more of that on Friday over on Kick, okay? And I can't wait to watch more of that because it's very thorough, right? Now, the reason why I think it's important to talk about this is this whole thing started. You got to remember the origin story of this, right? This hit the common sphere, I guess everyone outside of individual communities, when the Kino Casino Clips channel went down, right? That's where all this thing started. And since then, because of Jeremy's inability to speak on this publicly, or at least talk about it, or at least disavow the actions, right? Or tell his community, whoever's doing it, to stop, right? Even if he's not doing it, just saying, stop, right? Don't do this. Don't flag these other channels. Because of his inability to do that or own up for it or apologize, whatever it is, right? Now other people are being caught in the blast radius, including his co-host, right? Obviously, we talked about Melanie before. I went through and I read the DMs that Quartering was going to expose me over, and I read all that, and that happened. But now, apparently last night, Melanie was on Chrissy Mayer's channel last night, and Chrissy was on and getting flooded by comments and super chats asking Mel questions and stuff. And I've only seen like a little bit of this. I just saw like bits and pieces. I did see that it was happening, but I was ready for bed, right? So I kind of got caught up on this. And my take on this was very simple. I don't think Chrissy knew the hornet's nest that she was stepping into when this happened. I mean, she stepped right on this thing and got bit 1,000 times. Now, from what I saw, there were a lot of super chats that were asking Melanie questions or asking her to address certain things or saying the things. And Chrissy was reading off all of these super chats and kind of flossing over them. And I think part of that is because I think Chrissy was uncomfortable from the situation. Now, once again, Chrissy's been on our show. I've seen Chrissy. I've been to Chrissy's comedy shows before. Full disclosure, I like Chrissy a lot. I just don't think she knew what she was getting into when all this thing happened, when she invited Mel on. And because honestly, I don't think she has the pulse of a lot of the stuff that's happening. Now, I do think that Chrissy made a wild misstep last night, and from what I saw, she didn't just like stop down and address the elephant in the room, which I think if you're getting bombarded by supers and people are asking these things, I don't think you can just move on. I think you do need to more or less do what we did with Phil so many years ago, right? Was, hey, let's actually talk about this. Let's actually have a conversation about this and address some of these things that people want to talk about instead of just kind of flossing it over. So it's going back to the origin of this. Now, because of Jeremy's inability to address things head on, or at least talk about them, and instead of passing blame and playing the perpetual victim, he is now getting other people in the blast radius of this. And it's not fair to them. It's not like Mel's in this now, and now Chrissy has been involved. And Chrissy, she doesn't really know anything about this stuff, at least from what I understand. I don't know if she knows, but I'm just based off what I know about Chrissy, I don't think she knows enough about this. And now she's in the blast radius of it. And this will continue because ultimately Chrissy's going to have somebody else on, and they're all going to be linked to this because of one guy's inability to address this head on, which is pretty much all people want him to do, is just to talk about it and apologize if he did something, which allegedly he did. But once again, it's all alleged. I've never once said that he's done this. But, once again, if it looks like a cat, meows like a cat, probably a cat, right? And I think that's where things are at. And it's going to continue to trickle, continue to go. And that sucks for everybody who is even remotely close to this, because it's not fair to them because of his inability to address these things. Now, Ines, you've been kind of watching this from afar. Do you have any?
Yeah. I think, again, Chrissy was friends with Melanie before this even happened. So and she's a mother. So did she even know about the potential copyright striking that took down a channel? I don't even know. There's things I miss all the time that my chat knows about that I don't know about. So without really knowing more, I don't. I just saw the broad strokes. I did see her getting flamed. And again, I kind of agree with you that did she even know what she was getting herself into? Like, she's had Melanie on before, like, and it didn't have this effect. Like, she might have seriously not had an idea of what was going on, you know, because
Right.
she's got a young child. Like, I barely check my Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what her screen time is with Twitter to know the whole drama or not. I don't follow her that closely. Although,
Right.
like you, like, I know of her and I've liked her before this. So, like, I just don't feel like she's one that condones like cancel culture or like lack of free speech. Like, she never struck me as someone like that. So, I don't know.
Now, to be clear, I do think that as a host of a show,
You should do some research.
you should know about the people that are
Yeah,
coming on your show. Now, to
true.
be clear, I don't do that all the time, and I should do a better job of that. Now, I would be totally a giant hypocrite if I told you that I knew everything about everybody who comes on our show all the time, constantly, right? Or their latest drama. Like I said, it's not necessarily my job to know everybody else's drama, but when you have somebody come on, it is a good idea to have an idea of what's going on. Maybe at least check their timeline or see what's going on around them, you know? So, yeah, I mean, obviously it sucks. And it just goes back to, I think that if Jeremy and the quartering were to go on and address this head on, I think a lot of this would subside. But he keeps doubling down and tripling down and telling people they're fucking idiots and losers and blah, 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 blah. And it's there's so much projection built into this that people are just seeing right through. And it's only going to get worse, not just for him, but for people who are associated with him. And he can end it all. He can end it, and he refuses to, which goes back to this idea that, you know, you are a narcissist who is self-absorbed, and it's never your fault. And that sucks. It sucks for everybody. So, yeah, there we go. Antark says, Craig is now a hypocrite. Melanie was on here 100 times. Come on. You're right. We told you. We've had Melanie on. Melanie was a huge part of the show when it started. She was on like twice a week when the show started. And once again, she left our show to go to the quarterings. And when that happened, I said, awesome. Like I literally was like, that's excellent for you. Congratulations. But yeah, Melanie was, and look, Melanie shifted her tone on a lot of things. I don't think that Melanie, that we would agree on a lot, but once again, here's the thing. I don't have to agree with everything that everybody does who comes on our show or says or thinks. That's kind of one of the big things that I really like about our show. I like people who are into things that I'm not into, because I get different perspectives, whether it's religion or video games or whatever. That's interesting to me, because if it's the same thing over and over again, that's boring, at least to me. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we had Melanie on, and it is what it is. You know, we've had a lot of people on our show over the past 3 years. So, look, I'm very well aware who's been on our show most of the time. But it just goes back to, if Jeremy was to address this stuff, I think it would definitely subside, and he definitely should have a conversation with the Kino Casino boys, because that's, once again, the origin of this whole story. And now we're weeks into this, and it's ongoing. And you know who's winning out of this? It's not the quartering. It's literally everybody else. Literally everybody else who's talking about this. Kino's they're the biggest winner of all this, as expected, and they should be, because they were the ultimate victims of this. Their editor was the ultimate victim of this. So, yeah, I mean, just all you got to do is address it. And all of a sudden, Chrissy's not involved, and she's not getting flamed, and all this stuff. So
It's kind of a shame too, because like Chrissy and Melanie have been friends before this too. So it's almost like the internet is expecting them to no longer be friends because of what the quartering did, which is just like an unreal expectation to have. It's like, is Melanie sweeping for the quartering, or does she wear rose-colored glasses and see things differently? I'd 100% say that. But I don't feel like either of them are necessarily bad people. And Chrissy, again, like, I don't know how much she swept. I didn't really watch the thing. I've just seen the comments she's been getting, which just seems like outlandish. Like, you know, like I don't necessarily condone everything my friends do. I'm not going to like, I have friends on the different side of the political aisle. It's like, it's interesting that people, you know, disavow the current leftist movement to just like disown people based on belief. But then meanwhile, you see this happening. Is this not the exact same fucking thing? Like, you're expecting her to drop her friendship over something that's unrelated to their friendship. The quartering has nothing to do with them being friends. So like, I kind of see both angles too. Like, if she was sweeping, and if, if they're actually condoning cancel culture, that's one thing, but like she's never allowed to speak to her friend again because of what the court ring did. Like, I just don't see the connection, and it's just sad that that's how the online works.
Right, but I do think that there is something to knowing what's going on in their
There
situation.
is too, yeah.
Right.
There is
that so just as a host of a show, just have do a little bit of research.
Some in the comments say that Chrissy did know because she was on FNT talking about it. Again, like haven't watched all this stuff, and it's like always trepidatious to speak on things I haven't fully made myself aware of. But just the broad strokes of it seem a bit strange.
Right. If she was on FNT and she was talking about it, or at least she was aware of it, that does change things a bit. Right.
Like I said, people in chat, a couple of them, I've seen that, but
I don't have an opportunity to consume every piece of content ever created on the internet to know these things. Right. So that's a tough thing. Now, people are also saying that, the chat was trying to get Britney Vinty on, and Britney has a thing about, she's been a part of this quartering saga as well. And I guess Chrissy said she didn't see the DMs between the two. Like I said, I don't know, but I do know that all this could be stopped very quickly with one person's actions.
Yep.
And it's not
true.
It's not
the
Melanie.
Source of the problem.
And it's not Chrissy. It's Big Jer over there. So there we are. But this is obviously going to continue. This is going to continue. And it goes back to, we don't even think we talked about it the other day, but just the idea of good old Big Jer ducking Yellow Flash on Friday. Like, I think we briefly talked about that, but not a good look. And I don't know how you can recover from that, especially after begging for a 1v1 and then just backing out. That's pretty shitty. So